Greetings. We welcome you to a panel discussion with the speakers of the forum Global Crisis, Our Survival is in Unity. Today, we will answer and discuss the most vital questions that we receive from our viewers after the historic forum. For those who have not yet watched the International Online Forum and does not know about this important event, we highly encourage you to visit the Creative Society official website and watch it. The forum was simultaneously interpreted into 150 languages and streamed live to thousands of platforms and stations. Among the main topics discussed during the forum were a unique analysis of climate threats that will occur in the near future that was unknown to the public, as well as the social challenges within our society, economic perspectives, geopolitical crisis, and most importantly, a solution to all the threats which endanger our humanity today. The information about the true causes of the climate crisis is very serious, and many people have contacted us with a lot of questions. Today, the respected speakers of the forum gather together again to answer some of your questions, because we understand that this is the most important information that has to reach everyone. Now, I would like to introduce today's speakers. Alina Fedorova, entrepreneur in healthcare sphere. Dushan Valitek, participants of the Creative Society project. Anna Kotlyar, Ecologist. Alexander Masny, Biochemist and Bioinformatician. David Krueger, lecturer in geography. Anastasia Pashigrova, research and development scientist, candidate of chemical sciences. And welcome, dear speakers. We're so happy to have you with us today. Now, I would like to pass the word to our first speaker, Anastasia.
Hello, dear friends. On November 12, 2022, Creative Society Climate Team presented mathematical model, which was developed by multidisciplinary team of the scientists. The model was developed 10 years ago, and for 8 years, we were checking this model and prove that this is the only one which is describing and explaining current climate change occurring on our planet. The forecasts and major trends highlighted during the forum were already confirmed by multiple scientific papers and reports published after the forum. It is only 2 months since the report, but we see magma ascent and considerable increase in volcanic activity. We are getting new anti-records. The recent weather anomalies we witnessed here in the United States, the record-breaking Arctic bomb cyclone, which has impacted at least 215 million Americans. In Colorado, the record temperature drops. Just imagine 40.8 Fahrenheit in 30 minutes. These is massive changes. They were not only occurring in one place, it was synchronized with other parts of the world. And as it was presented, the reason is coming from our galaxy, and it impacts all planets of the solar system, where we observe significant changes too. During the same 2 months, tremendous changes were reported on other planets. Gigantic magma plume discovered on Mars. The strongest Mars quake was lasted for 10 hours, and it was 5 times stronger than previously recorded. Io, the Saturn satellite, the strongest ever observed volcanic eruption, was reported. And all this is not coincidence. This is the predicted trend. The main statement for the report, what is going to happen and how much time left. And we have 5 to 6 years, relatively stable conditions, and October 2036, collapse of our planet. It is 14 years to the collapse of our planet, but only few of us will be able to see it, and the most of people will die much earlier. Knowing that the focus which we made during the forum was already confirmed, and knowing that we have only 5 to 6 years, how you can stay indifferent? These 5-6 years are crucial for our future, and today you decide in which direction we will move as a humanity.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. Information about the true causes of climate crisis and its precisely estimated progression presented at the forum should reach everyone as soon as possible. And many of our viewers were wondering why such a vital information cannot be found elsewhere. Let me show with you something very interesting and thought-provoking that will help you to understand the answer to this question. In 2020, the Oxford Internet Institute conducted a study in 81 countries and found evidence of media manipulation of public opinion in every one of them. Misinformation was a common strategy in 93% of the countries studied. But how is this even possible? Let's take an example of how we are being manipulated right now. We are now actually faced with the question of survival. We have a huge climate problem. And what do we see? Society has been giving two theories regarding climate change. According to the first one, the cause of climate change is an increase in CO2 as a result of a human activity. And according to the other, the climate is not changing at all. And if you disagree with the first theory, you know or understand that CO2 is not the cause of climate change, and the cause is something else, then whether you like it or not, you will be called a climate change denier. And if you allow yourself to defend your opinion, make sure you will certainly feel the wrath of the Holy Inquisition and its followers. How the censorship system works in this case was openly shared by Melissa Fleming, United Nations Undersecretary for Global Communication, at the World Economic Forum disinformation event. She said that they have partnered with Google so that when we type climate change into the search engine, we only get United Nations resources. Because before that, Google was providing all sorts of information, and accordingly to Melissa, incredibly distorted information. So they had to be more proactive because, like Melissa said, they possess the science and they think the world should know about it. Well, I want to say on behalf of the world, thank you very much, Melissa. The world is in shock. Why do you own the science, and when did this happen? Collaborating with Google to censor search results that don't match the official version and to shape the kind of public opinion that's needed, that's cool, of course, but the question arises, who benefits from this? What do you think, dear viewers? As you understand, methods of manipulation are used today not only through the classical media. Public access to content is regulated through search engine and social networks as well. Another revelation from Ms. Fleming will also shed light on this mystery. Fleming added that the United Nations collaborates with major social media technology companies and influencers to spread its messages, considering that many social media users believe bloggers to be more trustworthy than if the information comes directly from the United Nations. Funny, isn't it? But it makes you wonder. I think you realize that when someone specifically owns the science or become a Google partner to get the information they want in your internet search result, then the chances of society having freedom of speech and open access to information, unfortunately, but tends to zero.
Absolutely. And I would like to continue the topic with Google search. We are often asked, you claim earthquakes are increasing in frequency, which is not true when you take time to do a simple internet search. Are you looking for data on natural disasters and earthquake statistics in Google and can't find anything, or can't find the same trends we showed in the report? I understand you. And it is very frustrating, but Google search won't help you. Just try run now a search on earthquake number by years. And what you will find, flat profiles or declining, showing no increase, or outdated graphs. And our team went the same pathway. We observed the natural disasters and weather anomalies are rising, but we could not get data confirming our observation. We went through the reports, papers, presentations, and finally, we decided to collect our own database for the natural disasters. And this is how our monitoring team was formed and how they collect data every day. In addition, we started to collect seismic data from the global international databases, IRIS, ISC, USGS, and local databases. The detailed analysis showed different trends in seismic activity. We developed the method for identifying unique earthquakes. Our database is unique, and we were first who brought the information on data manipulation to scientists. It appears that they were not aware of the difference, and they were trying to offer different reasons why world seismic data looks so different. You can see it now on screen, and they were skeptical about our findings and right now they understand that the data manipulation is really taking place. Just think about it. We live at the era of data. Thanks to your phone, Google can know how many steps you walked, what was your heartbeat, how many sneakers you ate today. But with all sensors, satellites, supercomputer, we can't know what was the earthquake magnitude, and we cannot get true data on natural disasters. And this is the vital information for everyone. Shouldn't people know that they are and their families are in danger and be prepared? And we know that it's important, and therefore our team collects this data and makes it available to people. And we are doing it for us so that we can see the trends. We share this information with scientists who work with us, and we do it for you because we want you to know the truth. But you can see, you can see this data and understand what's going on so that you can share it. And we want to live, and we want you and your children to live too. And we need your help, because without you, we can't reach all people in the world and share this information with them. Yes, millions are already sharing it and talking about this, but we need billions. And until they find out the truth and way out, we have no future.
Thank you very much, Anastasia, for your work. Thank you so much for all participants, volunteer participants who took part in this huge research in order to prepare this vital information for you, our viewers, for all our people in this world. David, I have a question to you now. Since you have openly told the truth to a global audience at the forum, you are now experiencing the conflict with colleagues. Please tell us more about this issue.
Ja, vielen Dank. Ja, hallo, liebe Zuschauer.
Thank you so much, and greetings, dear viewers, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on this platform. I would like to share an interesting experience on the way people have been responding to the climate report and how they are engaging with it. For me, the pillar principle of science is that scientists exchange views, that opinions are heard, that data and scientific studies are evaluated. After all, that is a prerequisite for the further development of scientific knowledge base at all. With this attitude, I got into a conversation with two of my colleagues at the school that I work. They apparently come across a post on TikTok where excerpts of the conference with me were published in a shortened or acronym form. Their response or reaction was interesting. They were obviously uncomfortable bringing it up to me, and they expressed the concern that I might get into trouble in my role as a teacher, since my remark on climate change does not correspond at all with what is taught at the school. I then explained that it was, however, important to deal with the data and the scientific findings mentioned and to check them. I did not present my opinion, but the scientific facts only. As an answer, I got that one must be skeptical nevertheless, since contents and connections that are represented are really simplified. But I also don't know how much of climate report was looked at by them. More important was the question of how I would now behave in the class, whether I would tell about this fact. So this conversation was not so much about the content of the conference, but about my behavior being judged as not adequate. Now imagine that I had spoken at the conference not as the geography teacher, but as a well-known scientist. What would have been the reaction at that time? There would have been an outcry of the greater masses of so-called intellectuals. But what we need are scientists who deal with these problems at hand. It is all about all of us. And I am the one who has been glad if somebody could justify. And please argue with the scientists. As a true scientist, as people know, you're not different and biased and so on and so forth. So please try to do the argument, try to argue with people, because this is actually what we need there, the representation in that. So thank you so much.
Let me respond briefly to David's colleagues. Their attitude is a prime example of the dead end we find ourselves in as humanity. These people, without looking at the forum, without examining all the facts, and without looking at the issue comprehensively, are throwing stones at us and lashing out at us in a naive, egoistic attempt to expose only their own stupidity. The saddest thing about all this is that they are not throwing stones at us, but to all the humanity. And now I appeal to all these people, before you start criticizing the activities and enormous efforts of millions of people from all over the world who in their spare time and often under deadly conditions, are trying to bring publicly available and scientifically justified truth to all people, including you. Look through the whole forum first and then check all the facts. Don't be puppets in other people's hands. Turn on your critical thinking. Once you do, you yourself will realize that we don't have much time left.
Absolutely. And when I think about this situation, essentially, just the first thought I have, it is how it is important to be obedient person. Your qualification and experience doesn't matter. Just obey and don't create the problems. This happens in school, in research institutes and university. Why this is happening? Because the organizations are funded by government. Then it should be in line with the politics and everyone have to follow them. If the organization is funded by the private institutions and which are pushing for zero carbon agenda, then the funding will be at risk and the disobedient person present the danger for the reputation of whole organization. But in fact, this institution just simply multiply the lie and lie on the real reasons for climate change. And in the end of the day, we will all have to pay for this lie, for this obedience, for following this agenda. But everyone should understand that right now, the worst thing is inaction. If you have doubts on our statement, do your research. Search for real reason for climate change. If you understand that CO2 is lie, don't be silent. Share this with others. Only by breaking this lie, we can start to address the real reason for climate change and start work on the solution.
Absolutely. I'm sure you now beginning to understand how the scientific community is being silenced today. This is happening in our democratic society. Many times, scientists have come forward with important research, but those who do not want the truth to be known have threatened their lives and careers. Unfortunately, a few cases are known when the person's lives was taken. Do you agree with this? Absolutely not, right? This is why it is so important to share the information about the forum Global Crisis, Our Survival is in Unity with every single person you know. You understand that this is the only way this information will get to other people. If you understand, don't be silent, speak up. This will save your life and the lives of all people. And now let's bring up another topic that greatly concerns our health and well-being that was deeply discussed at the forum. And this is the topic of ecological crisis. Anna, could you please elaborate on the statement that our viewers sent it to us? It states, people shouldn't interfere with nature's processes of recovery and healing. The planet can do so on its own. Is it true, Anna?
Yes, this question, is often asked by people, and it has to do the point is, well, what do we count on, right? Do we count that our planet can restore itself? But, the fact is that, the planet has been formed over millions of years, and during that time, it has built compensatory mechanisms that, they are able to, so to say, soften these cyclical influences which we are observing today, this influence on our planet. But in our consumerist format of society, we people have destroyed these compensatory mechanisms that are able to defend us and the planet itself. We, in this kind of format, consumerist format, right, we said, oh, well, are left without any defense. And those people who believe that anthropogenic factor, well, it has nothing to do with all these changes. And people believe that we need just to let nature restore itself. So how real it is? Well, I would like these people to study the following facts. The facts, fact number one, for example, well, a study in 2020 in the journal Nature, a study has been published, and it stated that the mass of everything that produced by humankind has already exceeded the biomass of the Earth. That is, it has exceeded the sum of all the number of all living organisms on our planet. Fact number two: in the last 50 years, humanity has destroyed about 70% of the world's forests, and the 30% of the world's forests left, well, it is, continuously degraded. And fact number three: actually today we are experiencing a mass extinction of species, the largest known ever in the history, and we are losing 10,000 times more species per year than usual. And we have to confirm that our planet is just poisoned. And as Professor Heather Patterson of the North Carolina State University, USA, said in the interview for the previous forum, there is not a square millimeter of the planet that is free of any pollutant. And we humans, as part of this ecosystem, we can feel it on ourselves. Even there is such a fact, which just touches to the bottom of my heart, that even yet in the cord blood of newborns, 287 substances have been found that can cause cancer, that are toxic to the brain functions, which cause birth defects and developmental abnormalities. And this is, just in newborns who just have come to our world, and newborns have already this problem. So what to say about adults? The situation is really critical today. And if we continue to live in the consumerist format of society, where only just profit at any cost comes first, before any common sense, where human life costs nothing, we will destroy ourselves without any, climate change, before climate change take force. And, I'm just startled by the fact how easily people imagine about the future without any nature, about ecology. And if we just analyze the movies presented today, it's like, no problem. Yeah, we won't have any nature or ecology. But I believe that the true problem is that if we have no ecology, then there won't be us. There won't be water, food, nothing. We will just perish. Do you understand that there are no bunkers or any enclosed systems that could prolong life on a dead planet? It's impossible. So we don't have much left time unless we start just thinking right in the correct direction, start changing the format of our society into the creative society, because only in the creative format of society we could solve the priority problem with the climate and the environment as well. And all we have to do is just to start speaking up, just to tell the truth to the people, because talking about what's really going on, telling these facts to people, we will be able to find the way out, because we have this way out, and it all depends on us, right? We don't have to live so kind of in bunkers, something. We can live in a beautiful and safe and prosperous world. Thank you.
Too often, we encounter the opinion that all power is in the hands of politicians, so there is nothing we ordinary people can do about it. But let us study the essence of this opinion. First of all, we must understand that this artificial notion has been imposed on us by the powers during 6,000 years. It is based on their assertion that there has always been and will always be a political elite, which is the only one capable of managing peoples, and therefore society, to determine their future, to recognize the impending danger, to take the necessary measures, to take care of people, etc. But is this really the case? If we look at history, we see that all of this is just one big lie, which they artificially maintain in people's minds, because no ruler, priest, or politician has ever cared about people. It has always been about power. It was about who would rule the world first. Some might argue that this was the case in the past, but today it is different. That politicians are the elected representatives of people and only care about our well-being. If this is true, why haven't any of the world's leaders and politicians in any of their speeches mentioned the imminent, impending climate threat? How is this possible that none of them have warned people that we are facing an enemy whose sole purpose is the destruction of our planet? That enemy is climate. Instead of informing people about the current situation, climate situation, and taking decisive action to save all mankind, they impose on us a false and bogus CO2 theory. Talk about a new arrangement of geopolitical forces and look for the culprits in crisis that they themselves conceived. I think it is perfectly clear to any intelligent enough person that these politicians have never cared about people and never will do it. But keep in mind, it is not their fault that we are in such a destructive society. We are all guilty of this. It is the fault of people not wanting to cooperate and participate together in the development and building of our civilization. We have degraded to the level of animals. It is not the politicians' fault that we are divided, but the selfishness that dominates us. If we shift responsibility for our lives to politicians, we thereby voluntarily deny ourselves the right to live as human beings. If we do not wake up now and act together as one big family, the mathematical model that was announced on the forum, Global Crisis, Our Survival and Unity, will become a reality. To shift responsibility to politicians at this stage is to sign our own death warrant. And are you ready to die? Or would you rather live?
Good question. Good question. Thank you so much for raising the topic of self-responsibility. Well, yes, indeed, corporation, politician, media, there are millions of people behind these words. And they are just like all of us. They want to live well, without fear, constant race, and endless lies. That's understandable. But unfortunately, in our society, that doesn't mean we should expect them to talk about creative society to the whole world. They will not do that. Conditions in our society are completely different. It's not right now. But we, the people, can and should talk. We ourselves must become the real media. Who knows, maybe that is why we are in this dead end right now, so that we can finally forget all our differences and unite. The only question is whether we are ready to leave. And if we are ready, we have to communicate with each other and share the truth ourselves and talk about the creative society with the whole world. When we can convince our friends and they can convince their friends, the world will change. It all depends on us right now. Don't stay silent. Start informing about the creative society. Right now, you can share this broadcast. Share the forum in your social media with all your friends. Record the video with your understanding and encourage others to watch the most important forum of these days. And dear viewers, we can't even imagine all the benefits each person will get in the creative society. Right now, let's watch a video about only a small part of the benefits. Let's be immersed into the reality that can become ours in 4 to 5 years in the creative society.
For several years, we have been informing about the creative society. The most frequent question we hear is, what will my life be like in the creative society? Friends, it's time to answer this question that concerns all of us. Make yourselves comfortable. We invite you to a wonderful world where the most valuable thing is human life. Your life. Living conditions, everyday life. Already in the transition period from the consumerist format of society to the creative one, each person will immediately be provided with accommodation of at least 60 square meters for a comfortable life. If you have a family of 5, you will live in a house or apartment of 300 square meters. This housing will be your property. It will not be subject to taxes and utility bills. As your family grows, your living space will expand. A consumer paradise will be created. The availability of free time, money, and a variety of quality goods and accessible products. And this is already in the transition period from a consumerist format to the creative society. Financial freedom. People will become financially independent starting from their birth. From the first day of the transition period to the creative society, all mortgages and loans will be written off. No more inflation. Prices for the same product or services will be the same all over the world. No more taxes on small and medium-sized businesses. No more taxes on individuals. You will receive a universal basic income of $10,000 every month. There will be no need to work in order to have a roof over your head and feed your family. In the creative society, you will always have confidence in your future. Do you want more money? There will be an opportunity to work doing what you love to do. Only 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. You will have a vacation at least 2 months a year. Do you want to work more because you get a buzz out of doing your job benefiting society? Go for it. You are always free to choose. All hard, dangerous, harmful, and monotonous work will be done by robots and automated systems. A human is not a slave to toil from morning till night for a penny. You will have time for yourself. You will be able to do things you really care about. Spend time with people you love. Develop yourself. Be creative. And travel to any part of the world without visas or restrictions. In the creative society, every day of your life brings only joy and pleasure. Environment. Production will be waste-free and completely environmentally friendly. Pesticides and chemicals will no longer be needed to grow products. Only tasty, healthy, and varied foods will always be on your table. You will be able to enjoy clean, fresh air wherever you go. You will be able to drink crystal clear water saturated with good microelements and minerals. In the creative society, we will restore the ecosystem of the planet, and we will be able to admire the purity of oceans and the beauty of pristine forests. The creative society is a world of harmony and beauty. Healthcare. Perfect health of every person is one of the priorities of the creative society. From the very beginning of the transition period, medical care will be free for everyone. Doctors will be paid for healthy patients. A patient will no longer be seen as a profitable client. Each medical center will be equipped with artificial intelligence that will incorporate the experience of all the best doctors in the world throughout history. The very approach in healthcare will change. It will become 90% preventative. And all this right away in the transition period. Now, in the creative society, new technologies will allow humanity to never get sick. Everyone will have an opportunity to significantly increase their lifespan. To date, these technologies are already being developed, but the consumerist format makes them inaccessible for us. A simple device installed in the shower cubicle will scan your body and will adjust your appearance according to your wishes. In the creative society, you'll be really healthy, completely free of charge. Education. You deserve a decent, high quality, and free education. Do you like to study? In the creative society, you can get as many degrees as you want. And you won't have to worry about earning a living because you'll have a universal basic income. From the first days of the transition period to the creative society, you can easily acquire a new profession if you wish to. Artificial intelligence will create an adaptive educational program for you according to your peculiarities. You can study anywhere in the world and at a time that suits you. The creative society is a world of knowledgeable and versatile personalities. Freedom. People will decide for themselves what rules and laws to live by and implement their decisions through voting on a unified platform. The highest value is human life. Everything will be built around the fundamental basis. The world's media will no longer be in private hands, but will belong to society as a whole. This means that they will no longer be able to manipulate public opinion for the profit of a few. The media will truthfully and holistically inform, educate, and inspire people. Safety. Already, in the transition period from the consumerist format to the creative society, the fate of people will no longer depend on the decisions made by a few individuals and on what those in power will agree among themselves. Society will create conditions in which wars, murder, theft, slavery, human trafficking, and drug trade will be impossible. Crime will completely disappear. The latest technologies will be implemented everywhere, which will help the Unified Emergency Service to work proactively to prevent accidents and crimes. You can easily let your child go to school or outside being completely sure about his safety. You'll be safe and secure at all times of day and night while returning home in the evening, going for a walk in the park, or going to a concert. The main danger, the threat of a global climate catastrophe, will be solved. Humanity will never again be threatened by climate disasters and wars. In the creative society, you and your family will be safe anywhere in the world. You will get all this starting from the first days of the transition period. And already, in the creative society, thanks to a replicator technology, you will be able to get everything you need. all kinds of food, clothes, household items, and much more. As fantastic as it may sound, most of the technologies we're talking about already exist. It's just that it's impossible to use them in a consumerist format. Beginning with the transition period, science and technology will be aimed at improving the quality of human life. Life must bring only joy and pleasure. The whole absurdity is that, despite having all the possibilities to live in the creative society already now, we continue to maintain the consumerist format. We can build the creative society peacefully, without struggle or confrontation, in the shortest possible time. There will be no more revolutions, except scientific and technological ones, which will be a permanent and natural phenomenon in the creative society. Tell your family, friends, neighbors, and acquaintances about this perspective. Share how beneficial and cool the creative society is for them. You and I are living in an amazing time, when within a short time we can move from the slave system of the consumerist format to the free and safe world of the creative society. Everything depends on you. If you want such a life, support the creative society and tell everyone about it.
Indeed, how beautiful our future can be, how amazing our world can be when it turns from everyday life into a constant adventure. And it all depends on each of us, on the active action of each of us. And I would like to talk about the great potential that we actually have. We, I mean, each of us in particular, and eventually the entire humanity. It is difficult for us to imagine what a huge potential this is. And after all, imagine how different your life would be if you did what you really wanted to do. I mean, in education, in studying something, in doing your everyday life. For example, me personally wanted to be involved in the development of herbal medicines. And I remember this enthusiasm, that desire like to change this world for the better, to discover something useful for everyone. Over time, I began to realize that in a world, not everything is easy and there are many obstacles in the way. And I was limited by the place where I live, by financial situation. At the university, I'm researching a topic that has already been worked on before me. So in general, there were constant compromises to be made along this way. And in the creative society, we will create conditions that can unlock everyone's potential, open up. So that is, this enthusiasm from childhood will not only remain, but also multiplied. And it's not a problem to move to another place in the world where research is being done in the field of science or technology you're interested in, or you want to contribute to some great project that is of great benefit for the society as a whole. You don't need a visa. You don't need a startup capital. You don't need a small room in a dormitory, because society gives you everything. The living conditions are the same all over the world. Society profits from your interest because you can be useful for it in the future. And you, out of this feeling of gratitude, start to act even more actively. And looking at the current state of the science, who set the direction of research? Are scientists, for the most part, engaged in things that benefit society as a whole? No, they often benefit only those who fund them. And how many people, of really talented people, just don't make it through this system? We have already heard today in this panel discussion these examples of our specialists being pulled And what to say about those real scientists who have spoken and are speaking the truth about the climate? Many people were simply destroyed. They are no longer with us. And these are the people who studied what is happening with our climate, who put their entire lives into sorting out this vital issue for us. But someone wants to prevent them because they want to rob us. We are ruining their plans. And why are we silenced about it? The responsibility now lies on each of us, and every one of us who is watching this broadcast can contribute. How can a person come across this information? Will a letter come in the mail? Or are we going to be told about that in the mass media? We have heard today that media is a tool of manipulation and control. Then who is going to tell us? You and I, the people themselves, need to spread this word. Millions of people are already acting, but billions of people are still unaware of it, are still in darkness. So we can't do anything without you, without each and everyone. Every person is valuable in his or her own way, because everyone has their own circle of communication, their own ideas how to inform people about creative society, about the best format for the society we have today. Of course, if anyone has a better idea and solution, please tell us. We'll support you. Don't be shy. But so far, no one else has offered a solution but us. And as of today, only the creative society format can solve all the problems. We, people, can solve them all together, united. And I have personally decided to act actively, not to wait for everyone to resolve itself and will somehow survive in the future and so on. I have no illusions about the future if we will do nothing. And getting back to the original topic I would like to discuss, I would like to add this: there are a lot of people in the world right now who have really no opportunity, no chance to get education, no finance, social status, thousands of things, and all this unfairness of this world. And yet some of these people could have been made great mathematicians. They could become biologists, pharmacists, doctors. And how many people with undiscovered potential, how many ruined lives. A person just didn't get an education in time, and humanity became poorer in its overall potential. And that person could have saved your life, maybe. But once again, it all depends on each of us. This is why we all want to bring life and build the creative society, not only for ourselves, but also for you, for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Indeed, the creative society, in a creative society, every person can unlock his or her inner potential. And I would like to clarify to our viewers why our respected speakers emphasize so many times today that we need to inform people around the world about the idea of creative society. Because the transition from the format in which we live right now, in the consumer format, transition to the creative society is only possible in the peaceful, evolutionary way. And in order for us to move on, to change the format, we need to inform all people. We need to send this information to every single person in the world so we as a humanity can decide. And we have a chance to survive. And now let's move on to the next topic, which received a wide resonance after the forum. It is a topic of healthcare, of course, right? We received a lot of questions regarding the capsule which will prevent and treat all the diseases and illnesses in the comfort of our homes. This is the huge advancement that will be available to all people in the creative society. Mind-blowing to even think that we will no longer worry about diseases and sickness. I can wait to see that day. Alina, please tell us more about this unique technology.
Yes, Marina. After the forum, we received many questions about rejuvenation cubicles or capsules and about technologies of life extension that were presented in the videos about our future and perspectives in the creative society. Many people wrote that they really want to try them. They want to have a healthy body again. There were also comments that people said they don't believe it's possible, or that they don't believe it will ever be available to all. I understand that now it's rather difficult to imagine that you have a cubicle, a booth in your bathroom, which scans you every day without any harmful radiation, determines malfunctions of the body, determines any minimal changes or early mutations at the genetic level, and even before you get sick. And immediately, without leaving this cubicle, it painlessly fixes the problem. And this technology will be accessible to everyone, as an electric kettle is today. Of course, at our level of development, we can hardly imagine that. But just recently, we could not imagine such a technology as Wi-Fi. Once upon a time, it was also only in the development stage. And if I had been told that I would have a tiny computer the size of the palm in my hand, in my pocket, connecting me instantly to anyone on the planet, would I have believed it then? And today, it is in my pocket. So all the most exciting things are yet to come. This video showed us such healthcare possibilities that even the most advanced enthusiasts of the human longevity movement could not imagine. I'm sure the main question they are asking themselves right now is for how many years we can extend life. Friends, we are talking about centuries, centuries of living in a young and healthy body. Creative society opens up perspectives well beyond our idea of what is possible, at least what we think of as possible today. Just imagine, a person in the creative society would not know what sickness is. They will not know the anguish and suffering of the worn-out body. By the way, did you know that a person's teeth are renewed at the age of 19 to 97. Science knows many of such cases. It turns out that our body is preparing for the next 100 years of active life. But few people in the consumer format can experience this change, because the medical industry needs sick patients to earn billions of dollars from us. In the creative society, everyone will get all the new medical technologies for free. Let's compare that with today. After all, consumer format also offers you some anti-aging technology. But on what terms? Today, one of the leading technologies in the field of anti-aging is considered to be stem cells. At least from what is openly offered in the rejuvenation market. Let's not even talk about the black and gray market technologies. They are really scary and inhumane. You can look it up yourself on the internet. So, the stem cells. Do you know what one package of stem cells injection costs? The price starts at $5,000 for one shot and goes up to $150,000. There is no guarantee of success. Only very wealthy people who are very few can afford such experiments. Not to mention that aborted organic material and animal cells are often used to do these injections. To be honest, that's not much of the prospect. Do you want to use your own stem cells? It is possible, but it involves a lot of expenses for cryopreservation and a storage bank for the mother's umbilical cord. It's harvested while the person is still being born. A storage contract is signed with a lifelong annual fee for cryopreservation. Storage prices start at $400 per year, depending on the bank. Needless to say, this is a consumer society, and even if you pay that much, you don't get any guarantee of life or real health extension. But what you are sure to get in the consumer format is poisoning with microplastic and heavy metals. It begins in the womb. Pesticides, antibiotics, and hormones in milk, eggs, meat, heavy metals in fish, side effects from even simple baby fever syrup, and so on. As a result, illness follows you throughout your life. Those who live in so-called developed countries are little luckier. They are thought to have access to better technologies for diagnosing and treating diseases. At least, they are envied by people from those countries. There, even a shot of insulin for a person with diabetes is a luxury. I remember a story. Once, a Creative Society participant from Angola, an endocrinologist, told me that she lived in the countryside and she was the only endocrinologist in her area. Patients who live many kilometers away from her medical practice come to see her. She sees patients all day long, and in the evening, she takes care of a roses nursery, which she started to sell flowers. This woman uses the proceeds to buy insulin for her patients, at least for pregnant women and children. Yes, you heard that right. It is terrible. These poor people understand the injustice and are very jealous of those with access to medicine. All the while passively suffering, looking for someone to blame for this state of affairs. However, let's look at this through the eyes of someone living in the European country or in the United States. Now you can see on the screen the cost per hospitalization for a single session of chemotherapy. 24,000 Swiss francs. That equals 24,000 American dollars. And this is the price for a visit to a cardiologist. 4,780 Swiss francs. It equals 4,780 American dollars. These bills can add up or even exceed a person's monthly salary. Most of these costs will be covered by insurance. But then it's unavailable. A family can end up paying for more than 10 years for a childbirth. There are many examples of this in the most developed country in the world, the United States. It is all a bitter truth about the consumer format of society. In the consumer format, no insurance wants to cover preventive treatment or preventive checkups. That's why today, at the age of 70, a person is already an old man. Please tell me, what is the point of clinging to this old consumer format system where our road to illness begins right from birth? After all, today, we have the opportunity to turn this sad page of our past and take one giant step together towards the creative society, a format of life where our children and grandchildren will only know the severity of illnesses from our stories. There we will spend not a few measly decades, but hundreds of years together with our loved ones, all while staying in prime shape with a healthy and beautiful body. Isn't that wonderful? Personally, I really want to try this cubicle, which will fix all the consumer format damage in my body. This technology will only be available to us in the creative society. That's why, and for so many other reasons, I personally choose the creative society. Dear viewers, those of you who watch the forum, I want to ask you a question. Please write your comments right now. Why in the creative society is it guaranteed that all best, most advanced anti-aging technologies will be available to all for free? Why is the format of the creative society so special? We will be very happy to read your comments. And thank you, Marina.
Thank you so much, Alina. Thank you so much for that question to our viewers. And actually, I would like to add one more question, because it's very nice to start to already think how you will spend your life in a creative society, what you will do after we all will transit from the consumerist format to a creative society, when all the benefits will be available to you. What you will do? Will you continue your education like Alexander proposed? Will you modify your body? Will you cure your body like Alina said? Or maybe you would like to travel, or maybe you would like to explore space. What is your goal in a creative society? Please send us your ideas. And I cannot wait to try out all the new technology that will make our life easier, healthier, and happier. It will be a wonderful world. And right now, I would like to thank all our speakers for coming together today in order to answer the most important question that we receive from our viewers. And of course, dear viewers, thank you for being with us today, for all of your questions and comments. Please continue to do your research and write us your questions, because together we will move closer to our desired outcome, which is creative society. Millions are already informing about the creative society, but as our respected speaker said, billions still don't know about this life-saving opportunity. And without you, it is impossible to inform everybody. Don't stay silent. Start to inform about creative society. Thank you so much for being with us today.